Have you wanted to know the power of storytelling and LinkedIn? Have you been telling yourself that you need to get on LinkedIn? Well, today's your day to be able to figure that out. What's up, guys? This is Philip Sessions, your public speaking and communication coach, and I'm here with Donna Serdula. She is the founder and president of Vision Board Media, a professional branding company that helps individuals and companies tell their unique stories on LinkedIn and beyond, bringing dynamic brand storytelling to the masses and empowering people to dream big. That's the ink in her pen. Donna, welcome to the show.
Philip, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you on. In all my circles, everybody's like, oh, I got to get on LinkedIn more. I got to do more on LinkedIn. And so having the opportunity to have you on, I think, is an amazing thing that we can come in and talk about LinkedIn. But before we go into that, I do want us to go a little bit more into the personal side of you, because let's get to know Donna as the person, not as the business owner first.
So, personally, I live in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, which is a beautiful, very historic little area here. It's just north of Philadelphia. I am married. I've been married for about 10 years, almost 10 years now. Um, we recently moved back to this area. We had been living in New Jersey, so I'm happy to be back. I've got two sons. The youngest is 7, soon to be 8, and my oldest is 10, going to be 10. No, he's 9, going to be 10. Oh my goodness gracious. And I also have 2 stepdaughters from my husband's previous marriage, and they are 21 and 25. So I've got 2 kids on, like kids on different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I work from home, and I love what I do. It really gives us the ability to have a lot of freedom and a lot of just live a really good life.
I love that. Working from home is definitely a powerful thing, because then obviously you can go work on the road if you decide to go on a road trip or anything like that. So it's a really cool thing, especially with technology that allows us to do that. So thanks for telling us a little bit about yourself from a personal perspective. I do want to go and ask our first question that I always like to ask, and that is, what is your definition of public speaking?
My definition of public speaking is being able to get in front of an audience. And that audience can be huge, but it can also be very small. I think public speaking, you need to be able to communicate clearly, effectively, with impact, and you need to be able to do that with a very small audience or a very large audience. And it could be, 1 or 2 or 3 people at the very least. And it can go much bigger than that. But it's really about being able to get up and clearly state, whatever it is that you're trying to communicate.
Mm. Yes, and I agree with that. Yeah, like we talked a little bit offline, there's all sorts of different definitions when it comes to that. And most people think that it's about getting on a stage in front of thousands of people. Otherwise, you're not public speaking. When really, by true definition, it's whenever more than one person can hear you.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
public
I-
speaking.
and I grew my business through public speaking. And even earlier in my career, I was always somehow thrust into those situations where I had to communicate in front of people. So when I started my business, it was a really to use public speaking as a way to educate and market, the business. It made perfect sense. And I look back during, all the many different speaking gigs that I've had, and one that will always sort of like sit there in my brain as being like one of the most enjoyable was, it was at a restaurant, and this very small group brought me in, and it was like sort of like a long table. There was less than 10 people there, and they put up a projector on the wall of the restaurant. They ordered food, and we sat there, and I presented, and we all ate and drank, and it was magical, to say the least.
Yeah.
And I mean, who would ever think of public speaking? You're at a restaurant sitting at a table with a projector behind you.
Hmm.
But it was really truly a fun, different experience, and the people really enjoyed it. So, there you have it. It could look like anything.
Oh yeah, and I like those smaller events myself as well. I know that wasn't necessarily an event per se, but just smaller occasions like that where you go and speak to a smaller audience because you can really connect with 10 people. It's really hard to connect with 100 or 1,000. And you're never ever going to connect with every single person either. That's one thing we forget to realize. When it's 10 people, you might be able to work the whole room and connect with every single person. Even then, you may not, and that's okay if you don't because you're not for everybody. But yeah, once you
Yeah.
get to those bigger rooms, you're really not going to connect with them because usually they're out there in the audience, they're in seats. You're not able to actually have that kind of almost one-on-one interaction or really make eye contact with them. Unless you had a really long speech. That'd be a really long speech to make eye contact with every person.
It would be bizarre too, because you have to to probably do it systematically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me just go up one row and then back down. Yeah, that'd be really weird. People would be like, "What are you doing?" Like, not even
I'm
paying attention to what you're
connecting.
saying anymore. Exactly. So let's transition over here to LinkedIn. So this is one thing that I think we see different things, or at least I'm hearing different things. So this might be great for you to hear my perspective on this. I mean, you're
Yeah.
obviously an expert in it. And well, maybe before we go into that, give me like a high level view of your thoughts on LinkedIn and how you help people with LinkedIn.
How do I help people with LinkedIn? So I discovered, gosh, years ago. I mean, I started my business in 2009. So I mean, I've been doing this for a very long time. But I realized very early on the potential of LinkedIn, because it was one of the very few places where a person could go and really control how others perceive them, because that LinkedIn profile is so robust and there's so much information that you could put in there. And people like to do business with people. So they want to know, who are you? Like,
Mhm.
who's this person I'm going to be meeting with or talking to or hiring or whatever it might be. And so the LinkedIn profile is this fabulous place to learn more. The problem becomes, I say to you, Philip, I need you to write about yourself in a narrative form. I need you to talk all about yourself and tell me who you are and your value and your background and your story and your strengths and your accomplishments. And I want you to cater it to your audience and your goals. Like, most people at that point just become paralyzed because it's hard to write about yourself. It's
Yeah.
hard to write, period, for most people. The vast majority, it's hard to write, period. But then you put in write about yourself, and it's impossible. It's impossible.
Yeah.
The word procrastinating comes to mind,
Hmm.
where you will do anything, any odious task, before you sit down and write about yourself. So here we have this situation where business owners, entrepreneurs, professionals, executives, job seekers recognize that this is a place where they can tell their story, and if they tell their story in the right way, opportunities will just collide with them. But you have to write about yourself. It's not the easiest platform. It's rather complex. How do you tap into it in the right way, not in an obnoxious way, because we've all seen those people who have
Yeah.
done it poorly, and we do not want to, tip those scales. So what do? Well, you turn to an expert. You have to, and
Yeah.
and I have a big team now, and we're writers, we're branding specialists, and we help people tell their story in a way that attracts the right types of opportunities.
Hmm. But I thought LinkedIn was just all about a resume. All you do is go on there and just get a job, or maybe you'll talk about what you do in your industry, not even what you do in the industry. Just talk about industry highlights and new and upcoming things.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
not,
and
that's
that's
not what it is?
no, and that's one of the biggest misconceptions, and it's always been that way. It's always been that way. And I'm not gonna, it's a great place for job search. It's a great
Mhm.
place to recruit talent, but it's also a place to network. And that the network piece is the really big piece of it. It's the place where you tell your story. It's the place where you join in with your network and you converse and you engage and you interact. And that's where it's almost like going to a networking event, but you can do it in your pajamas. You don't have to get out the door. You can just simply pull it up on your on your on your phone, on your smartphone. You scroll through. You can, and that's the other thing. A lot of people think, oh, at one time it was just purely the profile, and that was beautiful, Philip. I mean, it was beautiful when it was just the profile. It was a
Mm.
passive way of being very successful. Now LinkedIn doesn't just want you to rely solely on the profile. Now you need to engage. Now you've got to chime in. And that's a good thing because that's the networking component.
Mhm.
You can't go to a networking event and stand in the corner and talk to nobody. Or for that matter, hire someone to go and talk for you. It
Yeah.
doesn't work either. I mean, you've got to open up, be vulnerable, share, and get a little loud. And so that's the news feed aspect. That's the LinkedIn feed. And that's just simply scrolling through, adding some comments, adding, maybe posting a little bit. But people will notice. They'll see you. And it's a great way to get remembered. It's just a great way to market yourself in a very subtle, organic, natural type of way.
Hmm. And is there like kind of a strategy behind that? I know like with TikTok, for instance, you hear things like, "Oh, post 6 times a day." I feel that LinkedIn is not favorable of 6 posts a day. I don't really, I
Thank
don't even want to
God.
post 6 times a day. I guess content creators, that's all they do. They can do 6 times a day. I could, at least right now, could not do that. But what's kind of a good best rule of thumb or best practice when it comes to posting consistently? Because obviously consistency is very important no matter what platform, what business, any relationship you have to be consistent in some way, shape, or form. So
Yeah.
what's that kind of pattern for LinkedIn that you found has probably been the best?
So so what I've found is this, and thank goodness for this. Everyone can take sort of a deep breath at this point, like just sigh when I say you do not need to post every day.
Mm,
You don't need to post multiple times a day. If you can post once a week, that would be fabulous. If you can post once every 2 weeks, hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. That's
mm.
fine. That works. Just choose your frequency and do that consistently. So if it's once a week, once every 2 weeks, just make sure that you're doing it consistently. If you can do it more than once a week, that's great too. I don't want to give you the impression that it's only once a week. If you could do it every day, go right ahead. Go right ahead. But let's get real. We're business owners, right?
Mhm.
We've got clients and prospects and opportunities and just we have our business to run. It's not easy to post every single day. It's not going to happen. But with that said, I don't because you can't post every day does not mean that you get off LinkedIn. It just simply means choose what that frequency is. And if it's
Mm.
3 times a week, great. If it's twice a week, great. If it's once a week, fabulous. But just stick with it.
Yeah, and I agree there. I know different platforms, like I said, have different ways of doing that, what they seem to like more. I feel that LinkedIn and YouTube are probably the ones that things stay a lot more active and live. YouTube obviously kind of is there forever. If you search properly, you're going to see something from 2, 3, 10 years ago, however long ago. But LinkedIn also, I've noticed that I'll have stuff that's like a week or 2 weeks old, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden it gets a like or a comment. I'm like, where'd that come from? I'm not used to that with Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, where if I post it, maybe it'll get an engagement tomorrow, unless if it has hundreds of likes and comments and stuff like that. It's never really usually more than a couple days out.
Yeah.
So it pretty
And
much dies off.
yeah, it's very true what you've
Yeah.
just stated. It's absolutely true. You can and to test it, anyone can just go to LinkedIn and pull up that LinkedIn feed. And that first post you're going to see, it could be a few hours old. It could be a few
Yeah.
days old. Right. And that's because when you do look at your LinkedIn feed, it's not chronological. It's by popularity. And
Mm.
what's going to make a post do well in the LinkedIn realm? Engagement. You can put out a post and you can start getting eyeballs. People can start to view it, but if they don't react to it, it's just going to go away. It's just not going to get the legs that it needs to be seen by a lot of people. So you want to make sure that when you do post, not if you post, but when you post, you want to post in a manner that it's not all about you. It's not all about, selling something, but it's about helping people. It's about adding value. It's about educating. It's giving advice. It's being helpful. It's being motivational or inspiring. That's what you want to be really focused in on. It's about helping other people. And then what you also want to make sure is that when you post, you want to post in a manner where you allow LinkedIn to really understand that it's good content. And one of the ways to do that is if you make your post a little bit longer so that it truncates. You see that see more link. You know how sometimes you see a full post, but other times in order to see the complete post, you have to hit that little see more. If you hit the see more link, that immediately tells LinkedIn, oh, there's something good here that people are clicking see more. So even without any likes or without any comments, your readership is communicating that, hey, there's something good here. So that type of a link is a good thing to have that see more. The other thing is you want to ask for engagement. So you want to say things like, what do you think? Or ask them some type of a question. Do you also believe that the future of SaaS is in, whatever it is? But like ask that question and say something like, I'll meet you in the comments. And then when people do respond to your posts, reply. Right?
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't go to a networking event and ask a question and then disappear. You'd be there, interacting. And posts that do really well have that back and forth conversational aspect taking place.
Yeah, I like that, and I think that's true. And it's funny you bring up the whole networking thing because yeah, if you just went up, you ask a question, "Hey, what do you do for business?" and then they answer, and you just take off.
Yeah.
From, what in the world? Like that's super awkward, and it really is the same thing. And now you don't need to be waiting for that comment to be able to comment back, but you should comment back. And I see so many people where they do get comments, and it's not like a oh cool or thanks for sharing. Like it's actual like engagement, like more than that. That's obviously engagement too, but they're actually asking a question back or they're giving a lot of detail and they'll just hit like, or they'll put a little like fist emoji. Like go respond to them. They're taking that time. Clearly they're somewhat interested. And even if maybe they're not a potential client for you, they probably have a friend that does. And LinkedIn is great about doing that. Hey, so and so liked someone's post, you're not even connected with that person, but because the person you're connected with liked this other person's post as third party, now all of a sudden you're seeing their posts too, which is
Yeah.
an awesome thing about LinkedIn, which really you summed it up with it's a networking thing. It really truly is a networking platform at the end of the day because that's how I get connected with people. I don't just go meet every single person I now know. I've been connected through somebody else. And so LinkedIn seems to do that not all the time, but sometimes with people's posts and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. And you stated something that I think is really, really important. And that is, simply by liking or commenting, you are in a way posting because LinkedIn is taking that and sending it out potentially to some people within your network that they
Mhm.
think would be interested. So, you know, I said post once a day. Not once a day. I said post once a week. Post once a week. The other days, scroll through the feed and comment once or twice.
Mm.
Like that's a good way of engaging. And simply by doing that, you are expanding your footprint. You're getting seen by more people. You are essentially posting because that is going to be spotlighted on several accounts and people will see your name. And it's that drip feed marketing that, we always strive for. It's that always being top of the top of the mind aware. And it's going to give you that in a very easy to handle type of way.
Mm. And I want to ask this question because I've tried to do that where I'll scroll through the LinkedIn feed and I see basically nothing, or it ends up being about the same things I've already seen. And this may be the same day where I'm looking and I try and scroll through, hoping that something else updates. What are some ways that we could make sure that our feed is a little bit more active? Is some of the stuff, it's either one, I'm probably just following some of the wrong people because it's not of an interest to me, or
Mhm.
two, it's just I'm not following people that are really that engaging or posting a lot. So
Yeah.
what are some things we could do to make sure our feed is pretty active?
So one, one, you need to have a strong network. You need to have a strong network. Even now, I mean, LinkedIn's been around since 2003. I mean, it's like 20 years.
Yeah.
and
Right.
and yet at the same time, it's hard for people to reach out and connect. It still feels a little weird. And so there's some people who have these like ginormous networks of everybody and their brother. And then the vast majority have very small networks, and it might be maybe 100 people, maybe a little less, maybe just a little bit more. But, you really do want to make sure that you're connecting with everybody. Connect, connect, connect. Not when I say everybody in your life, everybody in your circle, everyone within your sphere. Those are the people that you want to connect with. And then you want to follow those people. So that would be number two. So one is connect, two is follow. Follow those people who are loud in your industry. Who are the movers and shakers? Who are the thought leaders? Figure out who they are and follow them. The third thing you want to do is think in terms of hashtags and figure out which hashtags are the ones that your target audience most likely is following or paying attention to. I find that within the LinkedIn realm, it's the broader, more general hashtags that perform well. So if you do marketing tips, not that great. But if you just do marketing, you got like a million people following that one. So figure out those hashtags and follow those hashtags. How many do you want to follow? Follow 10, maybe follow 20 if you want to, but at least follow some. I find that very few people follow any hashtags, but
Mm,
following a hashtag is a great way. That's the other thing you can do is if you've looked at your feed and there's nothing good happening and you've hit refresh and there's still nothing good happening, hop into a hashtag feed and
mm.
go through that. And you may find that that's where the gold is.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go and do that one for sure. Definitely, I need to go follow some more people. As I was asking the question, of course, I answer it for myself in my head. But yes, definitely go follow more people. But then also following those hashtags, I like that. I've heard of that before. I've never really done it. I've seen it more on LinkedIn and everything, and LinkedIn, I'm okay with that. I'll leave that alone there. But I'll definitely go do that. So I appreciate that. Now I want to go in because you mentioned which is kind of strange for a lot of people. So you're supposed to talk about yourself, but of course, you don't want to just talk about yourself to talk about your business because then it sounds like, oh, I'm great. Look how great I am. Look at what I'm doing. It's all about me, me, me. So, how do we talk in a way where we talk about ourselves, but we tell that story and we talk to that audience that we're trying to engage with and bring on as potential clients?
Yeah. You know, it is a hard balance to strike. And know that going, in right up front, it's don't think that this is easy. Don't think that you're going to write your profile in 5, 10, 15 minutes. It takes time. And it's also something that should be changing, right? So it's not like if you do it once 10 years ago and you're good to go. It's something that you do need to keep going in there and iterating and working on and improving and realigning and recalibrating to your needs and who you are today or where you want to go. Um, I think the first thing, and this is something I recognize I see it a lot with your type of your audience,
Mm,
business owners and entrepreneurs, and that is, they define themselves through just their business, and they'll say, I don't want to talk about myself. I just want to talk about the business, and their profile has nothing about them. It's all about the business,
mm,
and in some ways it feels natural, it feels better, but you're missing an opportunity because people can go to your company page to learn about your company. They've come to your profile to learn about you. And so in this situation, you do want to talk about yourself. You just don't want to talk about it in a obnoxious type of way. So how do you do that? The way you do that is first you've got to figure out your strategy on LinkedIn. Why are you on LinkedIn? Are you on it for job search? Are you on it for reputation management? Are you on it because you want to be seen as a thought leader? Are you on it for, did I already say reputation management? It's early,
Mhm,
I can't remember.
mhm.
so so but figure out why you're on LinkedIn. Is it to showcase your expertise? Like why are you on? That's the first part. Then you want to think in terms of your target audience, right? You're not writing to everybody, even though anybody can see this. Not everybody is your target audience. Who do you want to read this, and who do you want to cater the language to? So it could be meeting planners. It could be event planners. It could be your clients, potential prospects. Maybe you're looking for investors. Maybe you're looking for partners. Maybe you're hiring, and so it's really job candidates. But figure out who that target audience is, and then you have to ask yourself, what do they need to know about you, and what are you open to sharing?
Mm.
Once you have that, then it starts to become a little easier, because before it was like just write about yourself. That's like impossible. But now you have an idea. All right, this is these are the things that they often ask me. So I know that this is important. This is something that I like to share, that I feel is important for my target audience to know about me. And then you want to go from the top to the bottom. There's the headline, there's the about section, and then there's your experiences. The about section is really where you open up and you say, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is how I help, this is how I differentiate myself, this is why I'm a different person from other people, this is what I stand for, this is why all of this matters. Those are the types of questions you really want to be thinking about as you shape that narrative. And then you go through your trajectory, where you've been, because we didn't just appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we've had experiences that have shaped us. Maybe they're really different, but that's okay. It's okay that you've had pivots and you've had changes. We just don't want to spend a lot of time talking about things in the past that you don't want to do again. But it's worth mentioning to show how it has fueled you through your career and has made you different and made you you.
Yeah, it gives you that background too when you talk about that and everything versus just completely leaving that out. And I'm curious your thoughts on this, but to me, telling your story, telling about your personality is really what differentiates you as as a small business owner from these large corporations, as well as other small business owners that do the same things that you do.
Yeah.
And what are your
And
thoughts on that?
well, I absolutely. I mean, you've hit the nail on the head right there. And here's the other thing, right? If you want to become a public speaker, you have to be able to speak, which means you have to be able to write and tell your story. So if you're saying, "Hey, I want to get up on that stage, or I want to get in front of some people, and I want to talk about who I am and what I do and how I help, and whatever that topic is that you've got in your back pocket," and a meeting planner looks at your profile and it's empty, or it's not even telling an engaging story, what does that say?
Hmm.
Nothing good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're exactly right on that. Wow. And I want to ask one last question here on LinkedIn, and then we'll get to our final question. And that is video or written content. Which one is better, or should we do both?
Both. Both. And I do love video content. I love producing video content. I do. I enjoy turning on that camera and powering up the Shure mic. and
Mhm.
to me, I enjoy it. But it's also something that I've worked really hard to do. And it's something that, even when I do produce a piece, it's something that I spend a lot of time on.
Mm.
And why do I say that? because I feel that there's a lot of people out there going, oh, you got to produce video content. You got to produce video content. But if you're not comfortable, if you don't have the right equipment, if it doesn't come natural and you're doing it and it doesn't work, you're not going to connect. So make that decision. You say, you know what? Yeah, I can produce video content. I have what I know what I need to do, and I have the ability to do it, and I enjoy doing it. Do it. But at the same time, if it's not something that's easy, if it's not something that now you have an audience that wants to do speaking engagements. So one would assume that it should, but it
Mhm.
still may not, because it's a different animal completely, really, from getting up on stage. So know and make that decision. Don't feel like you're being pushed into it. You decide if it's something that you want to do. Right now, video content does okay. It gets a lot of engagement. It doesn't get a lot of views, but engagement's great.
Mhm.
The text, writing the narrative, that still works great. And it still seems that the longer posts are doing very well. Include a selfie. Oh, it feels so weird and
Mm.
awkward. I think especially for men, it's a little different for women. But for men, it's weird. I think it is.
Yeah.
But somehow these posts where you put a picture of yourself, they do well. Why? Because people want to connect. They want to see you. And that little profile picture isn't enough to truly, look into your soul. So, use a picture. That's a great way of getting a little bit more engagement and getting a little bit more oomph out of your post.
Yeah, I agree there. I like that what you said there. And I was curious with the video content. I still do feel like the text content, if you will, long form text content, it does do better overall than video. Yeah, for obviously my industry, it's important to have the video to show people, hey, I can actually speak a little bit. May not be the best speaker in the world out there, but hey, I'm speaking. I'm showing
Yeah,
you that I'm doing it, trying to put proof in the pudding kind of concept there. So I appreciate
yeah.
you sharing that. And everything that you've shared so far. But I do want to go to our last question, and that is, if you could only share one message for the rest of your life, what would that message be? I know I'm hitting you
One,
deep here, but yeah, you pick one. That's all you get.
you know what? I'm not prepared for that question, but I'm going to tell you what my soul just said to me. And that is, and I think it's what I'm doing now, right?
Mm,
Because people call me and they really struggle. They're like, what are my strengths, and how do I position myself, and how do I get in front of people, and how do I transition in my career, how do I, whether it's in business or a corporate world, and I feel that my real message is, you have value. You have value as a human being. You have a story to tell, and I want you to tell it. Because when you own your story, and when you tell it clearly and you can communicate that value, good things happen. Because now people know who you are and what you need and how they can help you. If you don't say it, if you don't claim it, if you don't own it, nothing happens.
wow, that's a beautiful message right there, and I love that you're already living that out. There's a lot of people when they answer that question that they're not living it out yet. They want to get there. That's something that they're working towards, but that's awesome that you're already living that out.
Thank you. Thank you. It really is. It's the absolute core. Like we all see, like this, like we're writing LinkedIn profiles, or oh, we're writing resumes, or we're helping people blog and post more effectively. But the truth is, you have to keep, you know, dialing in, drilling in, and the core is, you have value. You have value, and let's communicate that. Let's put
Yeah.
it out there, so you can collide with opportunities, so you can collide with the right people, and you can have amazing experiences and opportunities, so you can then take that message and communicate it out to others as well.
Mm, man, so powerful there. And the more value you see in yourself, the more value others will see in you too.
Yeah, you
So
got
it's
it.
just Yeah, it's a endless
We
cycle
now need
there.
that fist emoji.
Right? Yeah, yeah. Just give me the fist emoji or yeah, little I don't know firework thing or something. No. But yeah, Donna, this has been amazing. I appreciate all the value that you've brought in teaching us so much about LinkedIn. And know there's so many people that need to know more about that. It's a powerful platform, even though it's 20 years old, there's still not a lot of people on there, which is crazy because I always think, oh, it's not that old in comparison to like Facebook, but it's actually
It's older
probably
than
older.
Facebook.
Yeah, which is crazy. It just took longer to pick up steam. But Donna, if people want to reach out to you to get to know you more, where can they go?
They could visit my website, linkedin-makeover.com. That's where we help people write their LinkedIn profiles. I also have um, instantprofile.io, and that's using AI to generate a profile for you. And you can, of course, always visit my profile, Donna Serdula, on LinkedIn and connect with me, follow me, message me. I'm here. I love to talk to people. So if anyone's listening and they have a question, absolutely feel free to give me a call.
Awesome. Well, Donna, thanks again for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you.